Hey guys, Rick with RallySport Direct here, and guess what? It's finally here, our Focus RS. Yes, we've waited a long time for this car, perhaps too long. In fact, we might be one of the last people to actually get this car, especially considering we placed our order forever ago. Now, that's neither here nor there. Wanted to talk about the car itself. Now, initially when I walked up to it, there isn't anything really too exciting about this car. It's kind of just a Focus. Yes, it has beautiful blue Brembos, it has beautiful wheels, the rear spoiler looks nice and aggressive, really sporty exhaust, and the front end is definitely changed up, but then I got in it, and kind of the same thing. I'm like, oh, it's got a few extra buttons, but still kind of a Focus ST. But where the magic happens is when you drive this thing. Now, I don't want to sit here and talk about it. I want to give this car a proper review for you guys. So let's go take it for a spin. So this Focus RS, I'm sitting here at the bottom of this beautiful canyon, and I cannot wait to go crush these corners. But let's talk a little bit about the interior. So you get in, and it feels like a Focus ST or a nicely equipped Focus. You've got a lot of buttons. This drive mode button's a lot of fun. That's what gets us into normal sport, track mode, drift mode, which I haven't tested out yet. This button over here firms up the suspension, but one thing I literally just noticed just now as I pulled up here, I'm like, the car just died. And I see this little A on the dash with a circle around it. Auto start, check this out. Bam, okay? That's pretty cool. So, just looking at it, I can't help but think, is this car worth $40,000? If you're just sitting in it, absolutely not. Nothing really lines up on the body. The interior is a little plasticky, but like Donald Trump has always said, wrong. You are wrong. This car, once you drive it, you know where the money went in this car. There is nothing about this car that is meant to be nice or luxurious or anything like that. Even on normal mode, the car is pretty stiff. Okay, so then we're gonna throw it into sport mode. The exhaust opens up, the suspension gets stiff, the throttle gets very sensitive, the power delivery is much more instant. Okay, thing about this car, it makes me wanna drive it like a complete maniac. It brings a smile to my face every time. I've never been an exhaust guy in any way, shape, or form, but the way this exhaust sounds down low, I've never owned an AMG Mercedes, but this makes me feel like I own an AMG Mercedes just from the sound alone, okay? Then, between shifts, or you just let it off, you get this pop, pop, pop. At first, I'm like, something's wrong with this car. There's gotta be something loose in the back. No, that's just the exhaust. It's the literal definition of afterfire because it sounds like very small arms machine gun fire, just like pop, 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 pop. It's like, shooting off in the distance. The way this car handles, the way this car takes these corners, so you can just go faster and faster and faster, and you feel the all-wheel drive doing its thing. You feel the computers working out everything. And normally I don't like very digital feel, but this is a perfect combination of digital and analog. You can feel everything through the steering wheel. The throttle doesn't feel like an electronic throttle. It feels like you have a direct connection to that throttle plate. This car was designed by nerds, okay? And this is what I love about this car. Finally, technology has caught up with, is that right, even a word? Finally, technology is caught up with a normal car, and we can get something like this to where at a push of a button, so we're pretty stiff here. I push a button and it's like we're on freaking coilovers, okay? I mean, this thing gets stiff. Now on this bumpy road, I can't imagine this setting being very useful. In fact, I feel like it's just jiggling my fat here. But, so we're gonna go back to normal suspension, nice and calm. But even on this rough road, the suspension, especially as you're digging this car into a corner, the suspension just soaks it up, and you can feel the power delivery. You don't get wheel spin like I felt in other cars that have this amount of torque and this quick of torque delivery around bumpy corners, especially as you're, driving at like 75, 80%, you can actually feel the wheels, struggling for grip. I'm sure it's a mixture between these Michelin Pilot Super Sports, but I have to think it's just brilliant engineering. The engineers don't care if the body panels fit perfectly. They don't care if the dash is a little plasticky or, a little bit weird, or even if my center gauge cluster thing flickers a little bit. No, I feel like their main purpose with this car was to give you a pure driving experience. Now, I was incredibly worried that this car was going to feel a lot like a Focus ST. I love the Fiesta ST. Focus ST, it's a great car. I just didn't really like the way it drove, the way it felt. This car feels nothing like the Focus ST. So in our goodbye video for our Fiesta, I asked, is the new Ford we're getting going to be the dog I've always wanted? I referenced a puppy dog. This is the dog I've always wanted. So when I first got in it, I thought to myself, would I buy this car? No, it's not comfortable. It doesn't look crazy. It doesn't look expensive. Now that I drive it, I don't want to stop driving this car. I want to play around with the drift mode. I want to take it to the track. I want to drive this thing everywhere. Would I want to take it on a road trip? It could do a road trip. Is it going to do well? Your friends might complain, but that's not what this car is about. No, I'm going to show you what this car is about right here. Got a nice little piece of open stretch. Okay, just listen. That's what this car is all about. Even as something as dumb as just wide open throttle, the Ricer flyby, if you want to call it, makes me feel like a kid. It makes me feel like this is what I felt like when I was 16 and you drive in your buddy's car that had an exhaust on it. You're like, whoa, it sounds so cool. That's what this car is from the factory. And then the fact that it can handle, it can just the raw amount of grip this thing has, the raw amount of precision and feel and everything that comes out of this car is just fantastic. This car is fantastic, and hopefully we can make it better. We plan on doing some mods to it. We'll let you guys know everything along the way, what we're doing in this car and why we're doing it. But even in bone stock form, go drive this car. Borrow one, don't steal one, maybe steal one, at least for a little bit. Bring it back. If your friend has, if you have any access to this RS, go drive it. Even if you're an STI lover, an Evo lover, you like Ford trucks, I don't care what, you just go drive this car and take it to a canyon and you will have a blast. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I feel like I've rambled on for enough about this car, but I am so excited to see what we do with this car. I don't want to stop driving this car. I don't want this video to end, even though I know I can keep driving, but I feel like there's going to be so much more I discover about this car, like every little bump and corner and, every throttle position and the more confidence I have, the more I'm diving deeper into these corners and braking harder and accelerating quicker out of the corners. I just want to let you guys know, but I have to end this video at some point, so we're going to stop it here. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned. We're going to be throwing this car on the dyno. We're going to be trying to do some, just some baseline stuff with it. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.